What's up everyone, welcome back to ARTV, my name is John. It's time for a review of the second album, a long-awaited effort by the English glam rock band The Struts. The new one is titled Young and Dangerous. The Struts have gained international fame over the past few years, touring with bands like the Foo Fighters and riding the hype of their debut album Everybody Wants. It was repackaged and re-released with a new album cover in the United States and other territories in 2016, and it was a record that I found to be pretty solid overall, albeit a little bit spotty. Spiller definitely proved himself on the debut in terms of having some charisma and having something that translated well from live to studio recording. I just found their album, at least the debut, to be a little bit spotty, and I was hoping for something a little bit more consistent in many of the departments overall on their sophomore outing. The Struts ended up dropping Body Talks as the lead single from their new album back in July, and it's a song that I totally love. It has a fast-paced, fiery energy to it, and there's so much inertia that just keeps going. It will not quit, and it definitely has something that's going to have you humming along on the first few listens, and after 3 or 4 plays, you're probably going to be singing along every word. Young and Dangerous instantly sets itself up as an arena-ready rock album. They do have a bigger budget this time around, it's quite apparent due to some of the extra production techniques that are used on tracks like Bulletproof Baby and also Who Am I. Those are songs that have a deep, rattling bass that's very clearly programmed, and they play with a little bit of like a synthesizer and a few other instruments on some of the tracks. It's not a huge distraction or complaint from me, it's just that, again, some of the tracks feel very limited in what they have to offer lyrically. Do I go to the Struts expecting pure gold? No, not usually, unless I'm looking at the album cover for the US release of Everybody Wants, but what I'm getting at is that I'm not expecting perfection when it comes to the writing. It's just that some of the tracks, they fall a little bit flat musically, and they fall into kind of cliched territory, as you hear many of the riffs, many of the drum parts, and even Luke Spiller as he really puts his personality all over the songs. Sometimes it just kind of runs together in my mind, and I wish things were a bit more distinct. A very good thing that this LP has going for it is the fact that the songs are likable. The band themselves are likable. I think a lot of people criticize them because they're too derivative of a certain sound or of a certain band, such as Queen. But I listen to the Struts and I hear a band that possesses some magic, and there's something there. They have the pizzazz that could take them to the next level. And at times it is frustrating for me personally because I feel like they could capitalize on that magic, and they definitely do on some of the songs like I Do It So Well, which quite literally just struts as it walks, and also Bulletproof Baby. Once those guitars kick in, you can just see like a guitarist like walking down a catwalk, strutting that guitar, strumming, and it feels like they're on top of the world. But then there's other moments that bring it back down because of maybe a repetitive thing that they do with the lyrics, or that Spiller's doing with his songwriting technique style. Basically, this album can be a lot of fun. That is, if you don't try and overthink it. I definitely fall into the habit of doing that and maybe overanalyzing sometimes, and with the Struts, I feel like you go in quite often knowing that you're looking for some rock and roll, something to just kind of sit there and rock out to, and the Struts definitely bring that on Young and Dangerous, so I don't think a ton of fans are going to be super disappointed. Let's start off by talking about In Love with the Camera, which sees Luke Spiller talking about a girl that is quite literally in love with the attention that a camera can bring, all of the flashes, all of the eyes on her. And he's saying here, I don't mind as long as she's got what she wants. And it seems like the girl is very confident, and it seems like it's kind of an empowering tune in a way. It's very catchy, it has the theatrics that make it sound like it's ready for a movie soundtrack, and I feel like if this track does not get a music video, then they are missing out. We get a few songs that I feel have some cheap thrills and some glaring issues, one of those being Who Am I? You kind of get the hoot owl effect going on during the chorus. Who am I? You're looking outside like, is there a barnyard owl in my house right now? On the same side of that coin, we have Freak Like You, which does have a nice enough message to it. In fact, I quite like this song overall. There's just a few things that I feel like it falls into, a few extra tropes that they didn't have to necessarily necessarily pull. It's one of those tracks that continuously name checks people, saying their story basically, summing it up, why they're possibly considered a freak, and then it goes into a catchy, but once again, kind of cheap sounding chorus. Because it gets stuck in my head, I just wish it had done a little bit more. They could have provided some extra context, or even the rhythm section of this. The drums, the guitar, the bass, everything could have elevated a bit more, and it would have made this song more enjoyable overall. I do have to say, I am loving the hell out of my personal favorite song on the new album, I Do It So Well. This one sees Luke taking on a little bit of a different, more cocky than usual persona, I suppose. Not that that's anything new to the Struts, but here he gives kind of a talk-sing thing in the verses, and then that chorus just hits you like a ton of bricks. It's so catchy, it's almost relentless in a way, and it melds together electronics that break down in a little bit of synth mode, but also the guitars and the drums, and everything sounds so nice. You pair that together with Body Talk's Bulletproof Baby, which definitely just exudes that certain swagger that I expect from the Struts, and also the two-parter that they have on here, Fire Part 1, Ashes Part 2, which is a great story of a relationship that starts off so hot, so fiery, so passionate, and then it falls apart on Ashes, and it just leaves Spiller reflecting. And I love that second part in particular because everything is melting down, but it sounds so much like Queen in a very good way. It's a comparison that I'm sure many will draw, but it stands out because it has that deep thumping bass, especially in the latter part of the song, and it relies heavily on the instrumental and the momentum of the story that's being told. I don't find myself having super strong opinions on songs like Primadonna Like Me, which are definitely a good time. I enjoy myself while I'm listening to it. It's just not something that I feel like I would hunt down and continuously play over and over again. That and Tatler Magazine, which sees Spiller talking about how he always aspired to be on the cover of a Tatler magazine. And once again, it's exuding something from that persona that if you really like that mindset that Spiller's writing from and you can appreciate the throwback sensibilities, I feel like you'll definitely love the song or at least connect with it. But me, I just feel like it's kind of missing the mark. Young and Dangerous is a solid album that I'm enjoying more and more with repeated listens. I do hope you guys will end up checking it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, but me personally, I'm going with a light 3.5 for Young and Dangerous. Don't forget to drop a like on the review while you're here, and subscribe if you're new in town. Don't forget to ring that bell and turn on notifications to make sure you stay up to date all things ARTV. I talk about music multiple times a week on both of my channels. If you would like to support what I do on Patreon, then please click this annotation in the corner of your screen. If you would like to see my other Struts review, then tap here, or another recent rock review right over here. Socials in the description, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.